This is it. Last chance.
Some are in the playoffs, some are not.
After 14 years, the trucks return to the action track for the showdown of the season.
If you have hopes for a championship, this is your last chance.
It's a must-win.
They all feel this pressure.
A wild card.
The regular season finale of the NASCAR Truck Series.
It's the playoff cutoff at Richmond.
If you're outside the playoff picture, you have one chance to keep that championship dream alive, and that chance comes now from Richmond Raceway, the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. For the first time since 2005, the trucks are racing at Richmond, and 3 drivers have the opportunity to point their way in. 2 playoff spots are available. Tyler Ankrum, Todd Gilliland, they're on the top side of the cut line. Derek Kraus finds himself 10 points below the cut line, but a lot can change here tonight. Great to have you with us, along with Michael Waltrip as usual, and we welcome Kurt Busch in studio with us, and looking forward to having Kurt with us throughout the course of the playoffs as well. And Kurt, we saw those 3 drivers that are hoping to make their way into the playoffs tonight. And what are the nerves like for those guys and the challenge they have ahead of them this evening?
It's at an all-time high. Those boys have put themselves in position with a decent regular season, but a night like tonight can define one's career, because this will help you jump into the playoffs and feel that atmosphere and better prepare yourself for the future if you're moving on to Xfinity or Cup. So these boys got their work cut out for them, but they're going to go up against a veteran that's on the outside looking in. And I'll let you take that, Mikey.
That's Johnny Sauter, Vince. And I'm telling you, Johnny Sauter is a winner. He's won here at Richmond back in 2003. I know that was a long time ago. Heck, I was even good back then. But Johnny Sauter is still good today, and he can drive to victory lane tonight. And that's exactly what he's all about. It's cute getting in the playoffs on points. It's effective as well. But you want to race your way in. You want to win a race and make yourself a part of this playoff story. And whether you're Johnny Sauter, Stuart Friesen, another racer who knows what it's like to have pressure and come through at the last moment. He's done it many times before in his dirt racing career. He's a guy that can get it done tonight. And then Tanner Gray, a year ago, very limited experience on the racetrack, on the ovals. He's just a drag racer. That's all he ever did. But he's figured it out. He's put himself in a position to win this year. These are guys that I'm really looking forward to watching tonight, Vince, seeing if they can just pry their way into our playoffs.
Boy, not much has gone right for Sauter or Friesen this season. If they would happen to win tonight, what a celebration that would be. Well, as we see the trucks coming down pit road to check their pit road speed, let's check in with our pit reporters, Jamie Little and Alan Cavana, and we'll begin with Alan.
Yeah, good evening, Vince. You know, Austin Hill is comfortably already in the playoff, but there is plenty to race for tonight. Despite being on top of the standings for nearly the entire season, they only have 1 victory. They want to make a statement that they can go out and win races. On top of that, he can wrap up the regular season points title. That pays the equivalent in playoff points of 3 additional victories. That's what's on the line tonight for the 16 team. Jamie?
The 2016 NASCAR Truck Series champion Johnny Sauter finds himself on the outside looking in of the playoffs. 125 points out. It has not been the season he had hoped for. I talked to Johnny earlier, though, and he told me if there's one place to come in a pressure-packed situation, it's Richmond. As we just saw, he went to victory lane in Xfinity. He's raced in the truck before. He's raced in Cup here. He said tonight is his night. Keep your eye on that 13. He's in a win or go home situation, Vince.
Thank you, Jamie. Mike, how about that Gander RV track description?
Well, I love the numbers, Vince. They tell you that it's 3/4 of a mile in length, and the turns are pretty much banked the same. But this is a short track, and these drivers just salivate over the chance to go win on a short track. This is a very racy little track. Talked to a couple of drivers, though. They expect the groove to be on the bottom tonight. And we'll look at our race analysis. 250 laps. Stages are 70, 70, and 110. The pit window is between 90 and 100 laps. And another thing the drivers were telling me, Vince, they're concerned during this first stage about tire wear.
Yeah, that tire, expect some tire fall off tonight, make it even more interesting. Austin Hill and last week's winner Ben Rhodes on the front row, and we're racing at Richmond.
Love this place. We're 3 wide already and no practice. Heck, send it down in there, right?
Look at Moffitt going up top.
By the way, he was one of the guys that I talked to, Vince, and said the grid would be on the bottom. So I'm gonna have to ask Brett about his analyzation of the early laps here, because he's making it work up there.
You get to keep your momentum when you're up there as far as the speed you carry through the corners, but the preferred groove is really right down on that yellow line. That's where the left sides will start to heat up and grab that line. Man, these guys are after it hard already, trying to get position and set that tone early.
Right behind Moffitt is that 19 truck of Derek Kraus, who started outside the playoff picture tonight. One of those drivers trying to fight his way in. 3 drivers for 2 spots to point their way in. Of course, if you're outside that cutoff line and win, you automatically get a playoff berth.
And Vince, what might have been for Derek Kraus, that last lap, the overtime finish at Darlington, he was in position to win that race and had to get away from him. That's going to be a tough pill for him to swallow if he isn't able to get it done here tonight.
Yeah, said he made a mistake in turn 2 and got the truck a little bit too loose, and that allowed Ben Rhodes to get behind him or to get around him. And it's just one little mistake, but boy, it was a costly one, wasn't it? As you see Natalie Decker in that Nice Motorsports machine, the 44 truck already on pit road with the hood up. Not a good sign, and unfortunate start for Natalie Decker.
I'm starting to see Kraus struggle a little bit. He's trying to find his rhythm. He's trying to find the handling on the truck, and he went to the outside. Now he's on the inside. He is on the tight side right now. His truck is not turning at all through the center of the corner, and now he's in defense mode. He's trying to make sure he doesn't create too much damage or end up getting too far behind, because trucks are going by in a hurry.
Well, how important is it to keep your poise in that situation as well? You know how important it is for Kraus. Can't really afford these kind of issues, knowing you've got to get some extra points to get above that cut line and in front of everybody else.
Yeah, it's definitely right there on that edge of I got to let positions go, but man, my handling's off. Man, he's definitely stressing right now. Not digging it at all. He's got to let trucks go by, and that is frustrating. Here comes Crafton looking to the inside.
And Kurt, we talked to a couple of the racers earlier, and they were saying how much tire wear can be a factor here. How does he manage that upper groove and not wearing his tires out?
Well, he's not really sweating the tire management right now. He's just trying to find a hole to fit in and get some laps clicked away. But maybe, again, just the way the whole process worked for his starting position, he was way further ahead. What we got? We got Sauter on pit road.
So Johnny Sauter on pit road as well.
Definitely on schedule.
How about it? What's going on with Sauter, Jamie?
Yeah, you guys saw Johnny Sauter, not the way he wanted to start. He said it felt like there was a tire going down. He brought it in. They took right sides only. Keep in mind, they only have 4 sets of tires for this entire race as they look it over down here, Vince.
That's a setback. That's going to be tough to overcome. Wow, they've got other issues. That truck's still wandering all around.
Yeah, that's why he thought he had a tire going flat, Vince. You saw the truck just go straight when you get to the corner. That means usually right front flat, but maybe bigger issues for the 13 team.
Well, and there's your leader, Austin Hill, already catching the back of the field. And of course, Johnny Sauter is a lap down already anyway because he had to pit under green.
Yeah, Austin Hill starting up front like that. He's loving this track position and the ability to gain all these stage points to take with him to the playoffs.
More on the 13 of Sauter, Jamie.
Yeah, they're saying it's not a tire issue now. Johnny's saying it's just plowing. You can tell the truck just doesn't want to turn. They're thinking maybe it's the sway bar or something else that is broken on that 13 truck.
Boy, and isn't that fitting? I mean, that's fitting to the type of season that Sauter's had, including the last 2 weeks. I mean, he's been 31st and 33rd the last 2 races, and they just have not had anything go right for them this season. And you see Sauter still having troubles with that 13 truck.
Yeah, just pushing right out of the groove. But I can tell you this, Jamie, it's not a sway bar issue. That truck is flat across the front. If the front end of the sway bar was hurting, he would be all ramped up on that left side. So he's got other issues, Jamie.
Yeah. How about some radio from the 16 team, Austin Hill.
Let me know what's going on out back, because I don't feel like I'm pushing it. Just keep doing what you're doing. I got your back all night long. This is a really nice rhythm, not overdriving it, you're not slipping the tire, everything is great.
Everything is great. How good does that feel to hear in your ear, Kurt? That spotter Eddie the Hunt just being a reassuring voice in Austin Hill's head as as Christian Eckes in that 18 truck for Kyle Busch Motorsports closes in on our leader.
That's the hardest part about the 2020 season is there's no practice. As Sauter goes a lap down, those issues are there. But then as a leader, you don't know what pace you're setting because you don't have a lap time reference. Plus, these trucks haven't been here in 10 years. You don't know what a good pace is or a feel in the truck yet. But right now, Eckes is reeling them in.
How about Derek Kraus? We noted it looked like he was having some issues with his handling as well. Alan, what can you tell us?
Absolutely, Vince. Terrible start for Derek Kraus, who started in 6th, all the way falling to 17th. He's hitting the splitter every time he goes into the corner and just yelling on the radio, "It's the splitter, it's the splitter. I'm pushing like a dump truck. I can't do anything with this truck."
That's my favorite term, pushing like a dump truck. Nothing really good is happening, though, when you're pushing like a dump truck. You're getting passed. That's what's happening.
And Derek Kraus needs to be told that Johnny Sauter is pushing like a really big dump truck. He can't turn at all.
He's just got more dirt in the back of his truck.
You're saying it can always be worse?
That's right.
The 16 truck of Austin Hill is the leader at Richmond Raceway. The Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. It's the regular season finale. And for Austin Hill, this is a big race because he's trying to secure the regular season championship, which would give him 15 bonus points. Second place in the regular season standings gets 10 playoff bonus points. So it's quite an advantage if you can win the regular season. And Austin Hill is trying to wrap up that title here tonight. One of several storylines of interest. And that 23 truck of Brett Moffitt has already clinched a playoff spot on points, but looking for his first win of the season after winning 4 times a year ago. You see our regular season point standings. Moffitt second to Hill as they run.
Hill's going to lock that up tonight, and that's a huge advantage like you talked about, Vince. As we race into the playoffs, he has a little bit of a stumble in our first round of playoffs. He could get through to the next round because of his success during the regular season. That's why I love this format so much, Kurt. You can you can build you up a pad, and it can give you a pass through the first round, but eventually you better get back on your horse and get a victory.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's what it pays to run good during the regular season and grab those points, add them up, put them in your pocket. But you're going to have to roll hard after that first round in the playoffs. That's the who's who in any of the elite NASCAR division series. Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. That first round, yeah. Second round, that's when it's go time.
And how about these two right here that are currently chasing Austin Hill on track? Christian Eckes in second place, about a second and a half behind Hill, but he's got plenty of company. Last week's winner at Darlington, Ben Rhodes right on his tail.
Don't you love it? Eckes from New York. There's Ben Rhodes from Kentucky. Moffitt from Iowa. How about Enfinger, Alabama? We've got every state in the union covered here with our truckers, and all these kids have differing backgrounds. All came up on short tracks or dirt tracks, and they're getting a chance to prove on the big stage of NASCAR that they can get the job done. And Ben Rhodes, so impressive at Darlington, and now a really fast truck here in Richmond.
How big a win was that for Rhodes last week?
It was huge because he's proven he could win, but he was on a long winless streak. And now you're getting ready to go playoff racing, Kurt. You talked about it. It's all about momentum. It's about getting it done. Ben is as high right now as anyone in the field. He believes in himself, his team, more than anyone else right now. He won the last race. That means they're in a great place to go playoff racing.
And you just passed Christian Eckes for second. There's 24, and that is the youngster Sam Mayer, 17-year-old from Wisconsin. And Mayer has picked up a handful of spots already since starting 25th.
When we were out in St. Louis, he looks like he's going to pick up a win. I mean, this kid was tracking to win that race, and that just shows you another example of a young man that got a chance in these trucks and has proven that he belongs here and can win.
Yeah, he led 24 laps in that race at Worldwide Technology Raceway and ended up finishing fourth. This is his third start of the season. He'll also run next week at Bristol. He'll run the short tracks in Martinsville, and they'll finish up at Phoenix.
You know, and it's a tough task each weekend for all these young kids with no practice to come into these racetracks. I mean, Richmond is an intimidating place because Cup guys race there, Xfinity, trucks haven't been there in years, and when you come there with no practice, it's a tough task. So to jump in there with GMS, that's what's going to help Sam Mayer get the job done quicker and settling in and feeling that rhythm.
Well, the rhythm right now is Austin Hills, but there's a lot of, it's fun to watch the scoring pylon, Kurt, because this 98 truck of Grant Enfinger has been the fastest truck the last few laps. You can see him working his way around Christian Eckes there for the third position. So early in this run, Austin Hill's got track position, but there's guys behind him like Ben Rhodes, like Grant Enfinger in those Thorpe Sport trucks that seem to have more pace than Hill.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time at Richmond. You're the leader and you think you got this thing in the bag. You have no idea that you're getting reeled in by 5 different trucks that have a better lap time than you.
Coming into this race, Austin Hill had only led 26 laps on a short track before in his career. He's already led 33 tonight. Some other odds and ends for the driver from Georgia. Austin Hill still out front. He's led them all 40 laps so far here in the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. Racing at Richmond Raceway for the first time since 2005. This is the regular season finale. We'll begin the playoffs next Thursday night at Bristol. And right now, Austin Hill, who has been out front the entire way, he's got company. Ben Rhodes is closing in as Hill has come upon quite a bit of traffic, lap traffic.
Yeah, he's got the fishing line out. He's just reeling him on in, bringing him on in. Let's go to Alan on the 38 truck. Got an update?
Yeah, Todd Gill and Kurt came into this race on the good side of the bubble, trailing just behind Tyler Ankrum as you see him get out of the groove a little bit on the track right there. But look, Todd said anything short of a win, the best way to guarantee my way into the playoff is just to make sure we beat the 26 truck in every stage and at the end of the race. So far, mission accomplished. Todd Gilliland sitting there in 8th, getting passed right now, but still in a position to get stage points ahead of the 26 truck.
Isn't that fun, Kurt? Sounds like a simple task, right? But then as soon as you start focusing on the 26 truck, he drives by you, then your whole world comes falling apart. What do I do now? He's beating me.
That, or you have somebody that hasn't won a race jump up ahead of both those trucks. But hey, that's the strategy that you should stick with during the first stage. See where the points stack up, then go to stage 2, see where things are, but you might end up having to throw a Hail Mary at the end. But if you're ahead of them, yes, you're adding up points to your side on the positive side.
Nice battle for 4th as Brett Moffitt is going to grab it from Christian Eckes. And right behind Eckes is his Kyle Busch Motorsports teammate, Rafael Lessard. In that 4 truck, Lessard has really picked things up in the last couple of months.
How fun has it been to see this young man get his legs under him and figure out these trucks? 4 of the last 5 races, top 10s. Very, very steady with his pace. And again, here at Richmond, running just outside the top 5. Proven that he understands how to get a hold of this racetrack. And Kurt, you know this as well as anybody. This is a tough little racetrack. You've got more power under your right foot than those Goodyear tires will handle. You've got to really work the throttle as you ease up off the corner. You can't drive in too deep either. It's a definite balance here to be good at Richmond.
Yeah, this place is all about finesse. It's a short track, and you think you have to attack, and you got to drive it in deep, turn the wheel hard, and try to accelerate off the corner. But the least amount of effort on the wheel and on the throttle pedal and the brake pedal, just being generous and nice to all inputs, that's what keeps a truck on the bottom like Austin Hill. That's what keeps the tires underneath your truck for as long as you can into the run. It's just being smooth, just being smart and not overdriving the slip angle of the tires.
Let's check in on our front runners, beginning with Austin Hill, who's led them all so far, and Alan Cavana.
Yeah, and Kurt was spot on when talking about those tires. They've had Austin Hill, they've led every lap. They have a good buffer right now, but they started worrying about the tires at lap 20, and we've gone much further than that right now. So they've just been trying to be careful, and as you said, keep those tires under it because the tires are wearing faster than maybe they expected, but still he's got that buffer lead up to more than a second now. Right behind him, though, the 99 truck of Ben Rhodes, crew picking up right where they left off. Here's what he's saying on the radio.
It'll get worse as we go on here still. It'll be easier to pass them. This is about the point, Ben, where it becomes real easy to start sliding them tires. So just be nice and patient. If you slide, just be patient.
You heard him talking about the changes there. When they started this race, it was really on the splitter, but the truck and the speed is coming in the 99 right now, Jamie.
And right behind him is Grant Enfinger in the 98. 2 wins in the first 4 races this season. He's been pretty consistent since then, but he told me, knowing that he's locked into the playoffs, tonight was all about having fun and going for the win. He told me he loves this kind of track, loves sliding the rear around. The truck right now handling pretty good. A little bit tight on the center. They will make a small adjustment on the first stop.
Well, and you see Jeff Hensley there on the left side of the screen. He's the crew chief for Grant Enfinger. He was also the crew chief for Mike Skinner when Skinner won here in 2005, the last time the trucks raced at Richmond. So Jeff said, yeah, we've done it before. We can do it again. We'll figure it out.
Nothing to it.
Less than 20 to go in stage 1.
We're ready to kick off the NFL season. Fox NFL Sunday back this week. A great slate of early games. Check it out, including the Seahawks and the Falcons. And then America's Game of the Week, Tom Brady in the Buccaneers. It'll be interesting just to see Brady in that Buccaneers uniform, won't it? Against Drew Brees and the Saints. Check local listings for games in your area. You can always watch it on the Fox Sports app.
That's the game I can't wait to watch, Vince. That's going to be so much fun to see Tom Brady. What's going on here, Jamie? 98 to pit road. He doesn't have that many tires. What are they thinking?
That's exactly right, Michael. As we said, only 4 sets of tires for this whole race. He said his truck was not terrible, but they decided to come in, wanted to make an air pressure adjustment, and took their first set of tires here.
We are under caution because the 83 of Timothy Vians spun and couldn't get refired and going right there on the front stretch, so they had to bring out the caution. A couple of them have come to pit road, but most of the front runners have stayed out. So you see Vians going around. Coming back for the close of stage 1. Back at Richmond, the late laps of stage 1 for the Gander trucks under caution because of the spin of Timothy Vians, the choose cone and the choose zone. Do you go to the bottom or to the top? Kurt, do you like this choose zone rule?
Yeah, I like the rule. It puts it in the driver's hands, and the quick rule of thumb is you just go for track position. Low lane, high lane, you're just counting trucks. But at a short track like this, you want to be on the bottom. That's the preferred lane. And so that's where you work with your spotter. Crew chief's going to give you some analytics on which lane to pick. But overall, it's the driver's responsibility to choose the lane. No matter what you choose, if you think you did it wrong, you got to lay in that bed and go for it afterwards.
Derek Kraus started this race on the outside looking in regards to the playoff picture. It hasn't been a smooth start to this race, Alan.
We're going green with 10 to go. Everybody's on old tires. This is huge as far as this restart. Sorry, Alan. We're going green, buddy.
Rhodes on the outside and Hill on the inside. The restart with 9 to go now in stage 1.
Rhodes is going to put it down on top of that rear spoiler. Can he hang there off of turn 2, Mikey?
I don't think so. That bottom lane just seems to be so much of an advantage. You see Hill taking full advantage of that and able to get the lead back from Rhodes. Rhodes made a nice challenge on the outside, but Hill's good, and he's good on the bottom, and that's where you need to be.
Only 4 sets of tires for these teams today, so none of these front runners pitted. We did see a few a little deeper in the pack pit. What's their thinking there, Mike?
I would assume they're going to run about half throttle, Vince, for 7-8 laps and just try to preserve those tires, stay out here and gain an advantage, get that track position. As you see, a great battle here for the 3rd position. Brett Moffitt down on the inside of Eckes, and then behind them, there's Zane Smith. Zane came to pit road, got 4 tires, and he isn't taking it easy, Vince. He is charging. Can he get up here and win this stage? That's what this move by this team was all about.
That's right. He's going 3 wide with those fresh tires, and these guys are like, what? How's he doing that? See you, boys. Zane Smith with the fresh tires. That's what tires will do at a track that's abrasive and wears them out. And that's what they made the call. So I like the call that Kevin Mannion made for Zane Smith.
Well, this is huge, because if he can get up there and win this stage, get a playoff point, he'll keep that playoff point all the way through the playoffs. And so this team needs to get the win. That's the only way this charge, this decision that Bono Mannion made on the pit box is going to work.
It's impressive. I mean, and Zane Smith is executing right now with not a lot of knowledge about the trucks and not, of course, any experience here at Richmond. He's reeling them in. This is just going to be like, hey, this is going to be a yawner right here. He's going to be driving right on by.
Look at the difference in speed between the fresh tires and the old tires.
Yeah, Austin Hill saying, excuse me, what the heck is happening right now? This is crazy. But what about 21 when we go back green flag racing at the end of this stage? It's going to be exactly the opposite. Let's hear what he's got to say about this charge to the lead and this win of the stage that looms just ahead for him.
Nice, just move your tires. Once you get by, we're going to take care of them really hard.
Aha. Back it down, back it down, back it down. Just take it easy, because it sounds like they're going to stay out. Well, of course they have to, because you have a certain allotment of tires, and you got to deal with it now for the next full stage of 70 laps. But hey, they were here for the short run, and they got, right now, solid position to win this stage.
Don't you love it? This is fun.
Derek Kraus runs 5th. Alan?
Yeah, and he's benefiting from the new tires that he has, because they had to come in. Remember, we told you the front of that truck, it was hitting the ground and slowing that truck down. It was a problem too big to ignore, so they had to come in and actually make 2 pit stops. And on the 2nd pit stop, they made a packer adjustment, which helps raise the nose of that truck a little bit, just to get some speed and some handling out of the 19. But again, they had to make that call to come early and waste a set of tires, guys.
Yeah, the crew chief shaking his head. He's just not staying on the bottom and staying disciplined enough to get the positions that he needs right now. But it's paying off. If they get this stage, get those points, that bumps up the head of the bubble right now.
Yeah, and he is inside the top 10, so he's going to get some stage points. And the 2 he's battling for that playoff position, Tyler Ankrum and Todd Gilliland, they're currently on the outside of the top 10, so they're not going to get stage points as stage 1 comes to a finish with Zane Smith grabbing the green and white checkers. He's already won a couple of races this season. Some believe he's favored for the championship. Just pocketed his 5th stage win of the campaign. see the stage point breakdown from stage 1, and Zane Smith capitalizes on those fresh tires and not only gets 10 stage points, but gets a playoff point to go along with it. And onto pit road they come. Christian Eckes and our Jamie Little is there.
Christian Eckes, that tight turn into his pit box. He's kind of at an angle right now. Truck hasn't been too bad, just a little bit tight. They did make an adjustment there and a 4-tire stop for Christian, looking for his first win of the season. We go to the triple box, the 23. Brett Moffitt said those tires felt like he was on ice. He was excited to get those off, get some fresh tires on there. Truck is okay. Alan, let's go to you.
Amy, Ben Rhodes in the center of your screen says the truck got numb in the center of the corner. He wanted an adjustment, but not one that would take away any acceleration coming off the corner. You saw he just beat out the 16 of Austin Hill, who said he wanted a small adjustment to get him some more grip after a great first stage.
See the work being done on pit road, and everybody's going to take 4 at every opportunity. They wish they could get 4 more often.
If you just wait till you see this restart, you're going to see how important 4 tires are, Vince.
Issues for the 4 of Lassard.
Yeah, it's not one to go.
Back at Richmond, stage 1 is complete. Zane Smith was the stage 1 winner. There you see Smith in the 21 truck. Now we had the top 6 came on lap 56 and took tires. The rest came on lap 74 at the end of stage 1 to put on fresh rubber. So how long is it going to take before we get a balance between those that took tires at lap 74 and those that took tires at lap 56?
I'm not sure Zane Smith leads the first green flag lap. That's how desperate these guys with fresh tires are going to be, diving deep into the corner, 3 wide. But there's one truck there I'm interested to watch, Vince, and that's David Reagan. He got new tires, but he rode around in last place. He took care of his new tires as best he could. It'll be interesting to see if that's an advantage or not for him over the other guys that pitted, and like Zane Smith went out there and just won that stage. That was what that was all about. But now what does he do? What's this going to look like, Kirk?
Yeah, with Reagan cruising around, he's got the best, what you would call scuffs. But the guys behind him have those stickers, and they're ready to pounce and to go hard. But there's 6 guys that have that tire sequence out front. So I think Zane will be able to lead, or if he gets a good restart over Enfinger, to be able to capitalize and just try to pull away and to put down those good consistent lap times. But 6 trucks on a different strategy than the rest.
You see the 4 truck of Rafael Lessard serving a penalty for hitting outside the box. Some significant issues with that truck.
Yeah, it looked like significant issues. Should we text Kyle Busch and
we'll leave
find
that
out
up
what's
to you.
going on with the 4 truck? All right, let's go to the choose rule.
I found that when I text Kyle Busch during races, I very rarely get a response that I can repeat.
That's PG. Yeah.
I love Kyle though, man.
Almost there, buddy.
How about Alan on our stage 1 winner, Zane Smith?
Oh, that's a penalty.
Everybody watching the choose zone there. But look, the 21, our leader, he's got a good problem on his hands. After he won Dover, guys, he realized he didn't have any more room for the trophies that he's won. So he has to build himself an entire new shelf should he win any more trophies. Good problem to have if you're the driver of the 21, Zane Smith. Chandler Smith there, just hitting the wrong part.
I'm going to text Kyle on that one, too.
No relation, yeah. And
looks like we're back under yellow.
Yeah, Zane's going to lead this race, and Chandler missed that choose.
Oh, this is why we're back under yellow.
He goes to the back
by a lot.
Got to clean that up. That's a big penalty, boys. You got to have your mindset and a plan no matter where you're running. If you're running top 5, top 10, 20th, you have to have a plan when you get to that choose box. That's a big penalty there.
Well, then for Chandler Smith, it's just been one of those seasons. I mean, he's run 5 races. The first race they had damage, finished 22nd. They had an accident. The second race finished 38th. A couple of spins led to 20th and 23rd, and then they had a wheel issue late in the race last week that put them in the 23rd position. So they've run much better than they finished, but you can't afford these kind of mistakes of the choose zone mishap and miscue and costing you all that track position.
Go up through the gears. Solid restart for the front row. Oh, Friesen looking for 3 wide. Zane is in a spot, but Friesen couldn't make it hold down there.
Remember Stuart Friesen in that 52 truck. He's in a must-win situation as well if he needs to make the playoffs.
We got trucks everywhere. Fresh tires, old tires, 3 wide. Now everybody's feeling comfortable about Richmond, about where they need to be and how they need to race. There we go, boys. Love it.
Brett Moffitt in that white truck on the outside. He's got the fresh tires, as does Austin Hill in that blue and white 16 on the bottom. There's the 17 of Reagan that we talked about, having those fresher, older tires, if you will.
On board with the 26 of Tyler Ankrum.
Nice. He's putting right up close to Crafton. Let's see if he makes a move here down the front straightaway or if he's going to follow. Very patient on that move, following Crafton on the low lane.
Crafton and Reagan right ahead of him. Crafton the 88, Reagan the 17 on the outside. A little contact there. You see, it's not wide enough to go 3 wide in most places on this track, so you're going to get a little door rubbing, and you saw Derek Kraus take the worst end of it.
This is short track racing at its best. When you have guys on old tires, guys on new tires, that's what Richmond always gave the Cup cars, was a good show, and these trucks are putting on a good show right now.
You can see Timmy Hill in the black 56. He's done a nice job. Got a top 10 at Darlington last week, and then running inside the top 15 here.
Left-hand side of the screen on the bottom of the pylon, you see where that playoff cut line is. Kraus is still below it, 10 points below, with Ankrum and Gilliland currently occupying those final 2 available playoff positions. Riding with Todd Gilliland right now.
So you're riding with a guy right now that's trying to make sure he doesn't make mistakes and trying to keep it clean, trying to gain those points in each of the stages. He's a guy that's in by plus 18 right now as you ride along with Todd Gilliland.
A couple of big-name drivers with problems tonight. Johnny Sauter, an early issue. He's 7 laps down. Trevor Bain, the former Daytona 500 winner, running his 2nd race with Nice Motorsports, has already gone to the garage with a problem. No problem up front for Zane Smith, however. He won stage 1 and leads here in stage 2. It's the regular season finale for the Gander Trucks, racing at Richmond for the first time since 2005. Zane Smith is out front early on here in stage 2. He was the stage 1 winner. It's Smith's first truck race here at Richmond, but he did run a couple of Xfinity Series races, top 10 in both here, and I gotta believe that's a bit of an advantage for him to have had that opportunity.
Well, everywhere he goes, Kurt, he's just been so impressive. Every time he gets behind the wheel of this truck, anything he's gotten in, he's just shown so much speed. So much fun to watch this young man go out and show the talent that he has. What a great season for the 21 team.
Yeah, I like his exit of turn 2. I've been watching it. He's got that low lane. He's grabbing that left rear tire on the yellow line and using both rears to accelerate out. But I was impressed. General Motors has a nice driver camp, and Josh Wise, the training guy at Ganassi, brought all of us out to go go-karting one day. Sheldon Creed was out there, Zane Smith's out there, and I'm out there, Kenseth. This Zane Smith kid, I didn't really know who he was. I knew then, as fast as he was driving that go-kart and taking off, I'm like, this kid's got some talent. And now he's putting it out there in the truck series. It's looking good.
You know, isn't that great, Kurt? It's a go-kart track in Mooresville, North Carolina, Vince, but you can tell if a kid has it or not. You know, if he can go out in that go-kart and outrun Kurt Busch, you're like, all right, well, he must know something about what he's doing, and you saw that in Zane Smith.
I saw it. I was like ready to go wheel to wheel with this kid, and he was on the gas. He's like, well, I grew up doing go-karts. I'm like, okay, I'll use that excuse.
Smith with the lead, but not far behind. Grant Enfinger and Ben Rhodes, and then you've got the 52 of Stuart Friesen back in 12th. Jamie?
Well, Vince, after that restart, we had our eyes on Friesen for a while, but he's just faded. Said the tires were holding on pretty good, so he went for it, and he gave them up somewhat. He pitted earlier before the end of that stage. Now he shuffled back to 12th. And a note on Friesen, I talked to him before he got in the truck, and as you know, he switched over to TRD and Toyota this year, and it's taken them longer to adjust to it and learn how to use those resources. But he said after Darlington, they learned something and really were confident coming here tonight.
That's a good battle going with Timmy Hill. Timmy's racing him clean, trying to get that spot from him.
Yeah, definitely been a building process for Friesen and his team as they made that switch to their own ownership base, and literally started from scratch and really struggled out of the gate, but have put 4 straight top 10s together.
Yeah, I went up to their shop in Statesville pre-season, Vince, and we were leaving for Daytona like on Thursday, and it was a Monday, and they were just getting their bolt bin, and all their parts and pieces were just showing up at the shop. So they knew the start of the season was going to be a challenge, but they've certainly stabilized now. 4 straight top 10s like you mentioned, but they're slipping and sliding right now, Kurt. And once you start sliding those back tires, it just gets worse from there, doesn't it?
Oh, Richmond's frustrating. As soon as you slide the tires, you're like, oh, I got no problem. I'll be able to get it back. You can never get back that lap time. And then you start staring at your lap times going, man, I'm not able to get back there. And then you're just overdriving. Richmond is a finesse racetrack. And as soon as you think you're going to try to go get that time back, the track laughs at you.
There's Austin Hill in the 16, Brett Moffitt in the 23. A little bit of paint exchange.
That's the chrome horn, as we've called it in NASCAR. He's just tapping on that tailgate of Brett Moffitt. Moffitt was able to hold the position, though, and distance himself a bit from Hill.
Moffitt and Hill, a couple of the drivers that pitted on lap 74 at the end of that first stage. You've got the 2 front runners, Zane Smith and Grant Enfinger, pitted 18 laps previous, and they are holding on, but there is a line of fresher tires behind them. Is there a point where 18 laps difference and when you put those tires on evens out, or the later tires always going to be better?
Well, good handling trucks can have a longer run of holding track position, and that's what Zane Smith and Enfinger are doing. Rhodes is there, but this is about that time when there's that crossover of that heat cycle, and Rhodes just can't quite get any more grip out of his fresher tires, and that's where it stabilizes and equalizes. But look at some of the other guys that pitted on lap 56, and they've fallen off big time. So track position and the ability to accelerate after a restart is what's led to the 21 and 98 holding onto their track position.
About halfway through stage 2, back at Richmond for the Gander Trucks. So glad to be here. regular season finale. Lead change at Richmond as Grant Enfinger has taken over the top spot from Zane Smith while we were away commercial break, and here is that pass for the lead.
Just textbook. He got to the bottom, was able just to squeeze his nose inside of the 21 truck, and then teammate Ben Rhodes follows him through. That's confidence. That's Jeff Hensley. He's cheering his driver on, and that is Derek Kraus going a lap down. Championship playoff contender, but tonight has not gone well. His tires, with those extra laps on them, did not hang on, Kurt, like some of our front runners did.
No, they didn't hang on at all, and he was struggling before the stage 1 break, but can he hang on? With 25 to go, can he still stay in the lucky dog position? That's going to be a tall task for those guys to try to hang on to, but it could happen. That's when you want luck to switch over back onto your side.
Boy, it's been a struggle for Kraus from the get-go. I mean, lap 1, we saw him struggling with the handling of his truck, and it hasn't gotten much better for Derek Kraus.
Vince, think about Kraus's last couple of laps at Darlington. Was leading, thought he had that race won, and it slipped through his fingers, and now he's struggling here in Richmond.
Sitting on the bubble right now for the playoff pictures, the 26 of Tyler Ankrum, Jamie.
And Vince coming in, he was 9th in points. He's gone back to 10th, but he's still 18 points to the good, but it hasn't been a spectacular night by any means for Tyler Ankrum. Back in 11th right now. He's saying basically he's getting loose in, he's tight in the center, he's plowing the right front, and he has some brake shake. But other than that, Alan, he's pretty good.
Just about the opposite for Todd Gilliland. You can see where they are in points and how the night has swung. Here they are on the radio.
Right now we're P8. If we get to P6 and the 26 scores no stage points like we expect, we'll be even with them going in the final stage. We're definitely going to get this 23. He's struggling. I think we're going to get the 2 also. Stay focused.
And you can hear the confidence as you see a battle for the lead, but they said they're going to let that 38 truck go. They were saving tires. They're going to have him go and start getting more positions as Ben Rhodes tries to get the lead from his teammate.
Yeah, a couple of drivers out of the Thor Sport stable. Ben Rhodes, the 99, in that green truck, last week's winner at Darlington, trying to edge ahead of Grant Enfinger in the 98.
And Kurt, in the truck series, a lot of times we don't see a lot of cordial racing among teammates. These guys just go for it. How does that dynamic work for you when you know you're going up against a teammate?
Well, it depends. Like these guys both have wins, and they're locked in, so they should both have the same mentality of, you know what, hey, I'm mano a mano. I'm going to go out here tonight, pick up a win, and yet you still got to respect your teammate because you're going to be going up against them all through the playoff run. But I like the way these guys are racing. They're knifing through some of this lap traffic together. That, to me, look at that. I mean, 99, 98, the synergy of those Thor Sport trucks. That's when you have that good camaraderie going right now. Will it last through the playoffs? That's the other question.
The leader, Ben Rhodes, the 99, Alan.
Yeah, they're picking up right where they left off after victory lane in Darlington. There wasn't much time for celebration. Crew chief Matt Noyce, that was his first victory ever as a crew chief in the series. But they said they drove right from Darlington back to Ohio and started working on this truck at 4 in the morning. And they worked all the way through till 3 in the morning on Wednesday before finally finishing it up and making the trip down here to Richmond. All that hard work, guys, paying off.
Yeah, their Thor Sport facility, based, as Alan said, in Ohio, makes it quite a trip compared to what some of the teams in the Southeast have to make. As you see Gilliland move in front of Crafton for 8th. Back to that 99 story for a moment. That's the first time in more than 2 years that Rhodes had won. It was 48 races. And the thrill of victory when he got on that radio afterwards, you heard the shriek from him. And if you ever wondered about how important it is to win and how great that feeling is, well, we experienced it last week with Ben Rhodes.
And do you want to talk about playoff momentum, Vince? We talked about Rhodes getting the victory in Darlington. He rolls into Richmond, his chest all puffed up, knowing that he is the man, and he's doing it again tonight.
Yeah, and that was the crew chief's first win. So when he just stares at a wrench right now, it's already turning and making speed.
Almost a second lead for Ben Rhodes, the 23-year-old from Louisville, Kentucky, coming off that big victory last week at Darlington. He's out front again. Less than 10 to go in stage 2 for the Gander trucks at Richmond. Ben Rhodes out front. As we look at our Xfinity fastest laps of the race, Rhodes 5th on that list. Austin Hill, Brett Moffitt, Grant Enfinger, Christian Eckes. We've all seen them running up toward the front tonight, if not at the front, as you see Austin Hill in that 16 truck has led the most laps this evening, 65 of them on the point for Hill. He currently sits 3rd.
And if you study the running order, Vince, you see Grant Enfinger there in 2nd position. He's still on those older tires. The last time by, he was our fastest truck on the track. We talked about Reagan preserving his tires, running in the back for just those few laps. Jamie, it seems to be paying off in the long run for this team. Really good run for Reagan.
Absolutely, Michael. It's so good to see David Reagan back behind the wheel. Of course, he works with us at Fox Sports. And I talked to him earlier. He said he had 2 truck races planned this season. Of course, with COVID-19, that got changed. He said if they run well, run like they're running now, and everything aligns, we might see him back for 1 or 2 more races. But David Reagan right now likes the truck just a little bit tight, Vince.
And Reagan is working with veteran crew chief Marcus Richmond. They had a good run last week at Darlington as well, and ended up getting into a little contact on the final pit stop. Cost him some positions and didn't get the finishing position that they would hoped. Ended up 22nd, but ran better than that throughout the course of the night.
Check out Grant Enfinger in that yellow 98. He's closing in on our leader, Ben Rhodes, and he has those extra laps on his tires. We run this stage out another 4 laps, Vince, and put him up against the competition on even tires. I like his chances.
You like Enfinger?
I do, a lot.
Yeah, anytime you can hang on that good with your pace with older tires compared to the field, that's going to tell you that you got a good shot towards the end of this race. But top 4 have alternating tire strategies, and that's blended out. Like I never would have expected that to happen. I really thought the fresh tires would have taken over.
There's a good look at Matt Noyce, the crew chief for Ben Rhodes, and you mentioned a short while ago, Kurt, of course, the first career win for Noyce last week at Darlington, and well, how cool it is to get your first career win, period, but to get it at a place like Darlington with so much history.
Oh yeah, and then just again with winning, it just breeds that mentality of staying in that groove. But a small thing that might be a random nugget, Darlington has that worn out surface, so does Richmond. And when a driver has that feel with the current Goodyear tire, that's going to lend to more success. So with 1 to go, it's looking pretty strong for Rhodes. We've got Thor Sport running 1-2. Looks like they're going to capitalize so far on this stage.
What about this guy? He's bounced back. You saw him totally blow the choose zone and run over the...
Yeah, it's good salvage. Get back to 11th on that.
Yeah, and he's fast too. So watch for Chandler Smith in this final stage.
Ben Rhodes, the stage 2 winner, his first stage win of the season. And his teammate, Grant Enfinger, makes it a 1-2 stage finish for Thor Sport. Stage 2 in the books at Richmond, and you look at the points earned tonight. We've had Zane Smith and Ben Rhodes win the 2 stages. Grant Enfinger has scored the most points.
Isn't it fun, Vince, the way these 2 stages have gone down? We saw a little strategy play into Zane Smith getting that win. And then Zane dropped to 5th, you know, top 5 finish in this stage. Their strategy worked, but the race winning strategy, I think, was to stay out and pit at the end of the stage. We'll see if that's indeed true.
Pit stops here after stage 2. Let's go to Jamie.
Guys mentioned Grant Enfinger. They were up on their strategy in the first run. It worked for them. Tires held on. The 98 saying they've been off on speed, but they have been on a roll tonight. 4th last week, trying to get the win tonight, Alan.
Jamie, Ben Rhodes on the top of your screen in the 99. A great stage for him there. No complaints, small chassis adjustment and 4 tires for the 99. In the middle of your screen, remember Zane Smith, the 21, had old tires for most of that stage. He's getting too tight late in that run and just a little free as he goes into the corner. They're making an adjustment there. And on the bottom of your screen, Austin Hill, they suffered when they got back in traffic. He can't get on the gas like he wants to. Small adjustment for the 16.
Yeah, Austin Hill had a little bit of a hang up on the, looked like the outside rear tire, but didn't cost them any positions on pit road. How about Gilliland picking up 3 spots? Eckes gaining 4 spots. Hey, big traditions, big rivalries. It's the Big 12, and it's back on Fox. Start your Saturday strong, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's the Big Noon kickoff show.
is on his way to a second victory. Zane Smith, the winner of the Monster Mile.
You guys are awesome!
Austin Hill, victorious in Kansas.
Moffitt, he's showing a lot of power.
Creed takes the checkered flag and wins. Enfinger at the line. What a throw!
Wow. Back up front, Eckes.
Crafton is going to end the drought. Ben Rhodes has won at Darlington.
All those drivers have already clinched a spot in the playoffs, and we're settling those final two available positions at Richmond Raceway, the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. back at Richmond for the first time since 2005. And the 16 of Austin Hill, you saw that he's one of our series winners. He was victorious at Kansas, and he's also clinched the regular season championship. So he gets 15 bonus points to take with him throughout the playoffs. That's like winning another 3 races.
It is.
That is big.
And you keep them forever like luggage.
It's huge.
Take them right. You just take them all the way to
Phoenix.
Yeah,
if you
pretty
can make
much.
it. No, that's congratulations to those guys. That's team execution, week in and week out. They build that consistency, and it just shows they're doing the right job to prepare the truck for Austin to drive it, especially 2020 with no practice, things like that. Everybody's having to overcome a ton this year.
Yeah, tip the cap to Scott Zippitelli and those folks at Hattori Racing, really a small organization. They won the championship in 2018 with Brett Moffitt behind the wheel, and then Austin Hill took over the seat in 2019, and they won 4 times, finished 5th in the championship, and now the regular season champion here in 2020. Bit of a struggle on that pit stop for the 88 team.
Yeah, we got one more set, but I ain't putting them on because we'll lose 10 spots. Can we ever win a race when all we do is go forward and then we put tires on and go back? An absolute disgrace.
There's a lot of anxiety in the 88 communication there. I don't know if he was concerned about the pit stop or the performance on new tires. We'll have to see how he goes here, Vince.
It takes everything, every aspect of the team. Got to perform if you're going to win at this level. Final stage is underway, and we're going to crank it up. Sponsored by PNC Bank. From the 98 truck of Grant Enfinger. Looked like a little bit of contact with his teammate there caused that?
Not just a little bit, but that's a lot bit. That's not going very well. And I guess it was from a teammate. Got into him in the left rear. I don't know if that's going to hold, Mikey.
He kind of wants to get hit again, see if it'll knock it out, because that's a lot of smoke, and that left rear tire is vulnerable to low air pressure on these fresh tires. The flex is even greater because of that. And look, 3 wide into 1 on the top.
Man, they're just hoping for a yellow, and he's hoping not to be the yellow.
And the yellow is an interesting topic, Kurt. And Vince, we've got to follow this. We saw how big tires were. Those guys that stayed out on those tires, most of them fell back. If this caution doesn't fall at a timely point in this final stage and these guys get on differing strategies, that'll be a fun story to follow. How soon do you pit? When are you comfortable putting that last set of tires on?
You almost kind of hope that that's the case, don't we?
For us, we do. The crew chiefs, they're going crazy down there, just hoping the caution flag doesn't fall when they don't want it to.
Here's that contact between Rhodes and Enfinger, the ThorSport teammates that have caused that.
Turn 1, man.
Wow.
There's so many options when you drive down in there, and it looked like Enfinger left the door open. Rhodes put it in there, and it's easy to get loose underneath somebody and rub that left rear.
98 came to pit road. Jamie, how big of an issue was it?
It was quick. You saw him. He was only in the pit box maybe 2 seconds. They were eyeballing it as he went by. They basically just knocked out that fender but left the tire on it. Crew chief Jeff Hensley on top watching closely still as he rolls off onto the track.
And I got to tell you guys, I can't place blame on Ben Rhodes for that. You know, he dove down in the corner. He had his nose in there, and Grant decided to shut the door. It looked like just short track racing to me. What'd you see, Kurt?
Well, again, it's back to, like, I was giving compliments to the ThorSport group on they were letting each other run 1-2, and they both won races, and let's build that team chemistry as we go into the playoffs. Well, that beaker busted in the chemistry lab. That's not going to go very well here for the team meeting next week.
And if there's anybody that thought, you know, if they came to pit road to pull out the fender, why didn't they just change tires? They've only got 1 more set left, and you don't want to put them on now with 90 laps left.
Good news is it's not rubbing, and double good news, he's in the lucky dog position right now. I did not see that happening, so hopefully he can hang on to that and then salvage something here in the next 90 laps.
Yeah, so Enfinger first truck a lap down. Caution comes out. He get back on that lead lap, as you see the 17 of David Reagan and the 21 of Zane Smith.
How cool is this for Reagan? Hadn't been in a race car in a while, and now he's just out there marching his way up inside the top 5. Had a solid run, like you mentioned, going down at Darlington, Vince, and he's really, really fast tonight. That's Todd Gilliland. No kin to David Reagan, just ahead of him there.
Glad you cleared that up after the confusion of last week.
Yeah. Oh, what'd you do, Mikey? Well, maybe I shouldn't ask. That's all right.
Todd Gilliland's name, his dad's name's David, and David Reagan, and they kind of race the same trucks. So.
I think he suggested that Todd Gilliland was the son of David Reagan, and we needed to clear that up right away.
I'm glad we got that cleared up. But Todd Gilliland must have had a really good restart right there. He's running P3. Just see right there, change the subject.
Yeah, those things happen. Early laps of the final stage, the regular season finale at Richmond.
Ben Rhodes has his sights set on back-to-back wins. After winning at Darlington last week, he's out front here at Richmond with 79 to go, but we've got a long way to go, including another pit stop yet. Everybody with one set of tires still in pit lane. But Rhodes has been impressive, and as you said, Mike, with all that confidence after winning at Darlington, he came here with his chest pumped out, and he's showing them the way.
How big is that, Kurt? We talk about momentum in all sports, but when you're Ben Rhodes and you've had a long losing streak and you're able to put that behind you and you're racing toward the playoffs in this position, I mean, you got to make him one of our championship favorites. We've talked about this all year long, Vince. Who are we going to put as our favorites this season? And we haven't found a clear-cut guy. Right now, you'd have to say with the performance of this 99 team, Matt Noyce getting his first victory at Darlington, and the way they're running tonight, I like their chances.
I mean, when you win, like Ben Rhodes is sitting there on a 48-race winless streak. And when you win and take over that feeling of winning again, it fuels it up. It's just like topping off the gas tank. Now you know you're ready to rip. You can do it. It builds that confidence back up. Oh, we got yellow out now. And we'll see how he's able to adjust for that.
That's the 49 of Cicerelli. Started 34th tonight, making his 7th start this season. And the 22 of Austin Wayne Self involved in that as well.
Vince, we've talked about tires, and you know, we're still 75 laps from the finish. I want my tires. I want my crew chief to give me tires. Is he going to be accommodating and let me have them, or is he going to try to save us that? If I don't think I got a race-winning truck, I might stay out right here and take a chance to run 20, 30 laps. Get those other guys to wear their tires out, and then you come in and get some. All you got to do is stay on the lead lap. That's a tall task on old tires. But certainly I think we could have some strategy here, Kurt.
If I'm sitting in the truck, I'm like, man, 30 laps on my tires, 75 to go. Hey, crew chief buddy, you make the call. I'm just going to drive wherever you want me to drive.
Are you saying it's a tough call to make right here?
This is a tough call to make. I don't know which way to go.
Now, Kurt, have you ever said you make the call, and when they make it, you say, I wouldn't have done that?
Oh, of course, yeah. Like, why do we do this? I would expect some guys to stay out. You always want that set sitting there for insurance. You never know when another yellow is going to come out. And you keep your track position if you're running up there in the top 5, top 8. We've got, what, 17 trucks on the lead lap. And we got Enfinger, who had that damage, so we'll see what he does. Go ahead, Jamie, take us.
And David Reagan, what a night this team has had. They learned a lot in their first race together. They talked about coming, and they decided to stay out. The truck's been pretty good. He hasn't wanted much adjustment on it as he runs 3rd right now on the track, guys.
Well, you see Matt Crafton, who was 7th on track.
I like
to pit road.
I like it, Kurt. I wondered if Matt Crafton wasn't going to win this race. He couldn't run with Ben Rhodes. We didn't see that kind of speed out of him all night long. Brett Moffitt hasn't been as fast as we've normally seen Brett. So I like changing it up right here, getting your tires, pacing yourself maybe a bit, and then making a run late.
That and Crafton was having trouble beating guys off pit road. He might only have one truck to beat off pit road this time. We'll see how that plays out for him. But Moffitt, again, like you said, you're just going to mix it up. You got to try something if you don't have a shot at it.
Well, and one of the drivers hoping to get in to one of those final 2 playoff spots, Tyler Ankrum, currently sits on the bubble. He came to pit road to get tires as well. And there's Stuart Friesen. Friesen sits 7th, and of the drivers that have to win to get in, right now Friesen is the highest running in that category. The 98 of Enfinger gets the free pass, so he'll be back on the lead lap. 73 to go. 70 to go at Richmond, the regular season finale for the Gander trucks. Let's go downstairs to Alan.
Yeah, let's check in on the bubble. Todd Gilliland there in the 38. In terms of the circumstances, a perfect night for that crew. They've moved up from 8th spot. Every adjustment they've made has improved the handling of the truck, and they've extended the cushion on the bubble. He is earning his playoff spot tonight, Jamie.
Ankrum back there, kind of the opposite kind of night. He's back in 14th right now. He's holding on to 10th position in the points, but he's had a problem with brake shake. He said, I don't know if you guys can see, but when he's at speed, that steering wheel he's holding shakes, and they said there's nothing they can do at this point, Alan.
Yeah, and let's look at the 19 of Derek Kraus. A bad night, just not getting any better. Remember, they had a splitter issue they had to come in and pit and try to fix. It never got any better. I talked to his crew chief, Kevin Bellicor, once again, and he told me, look, I got something wrong with this truck, and I don't know what it is. They're trying to still diagnose the handling issues on the 19, hoping for a Hail Mary to make this playoff.
Yeah, the best news for Kraus, as Jamie talked about, or excuse me, for Ankrum, as Jamie talked about Ankrum's issues, the best news for them is that the 19 of Kraus has had even more issues.
Yeah, but he's still fighting, Vince. He's just a lap down, fighting to try to get back on the lead lap. And Kraus's night isn't over, but it's not looking great.
Ben Rhodes on the inside and Austin Hill on the outside, taking the green. There are 68 laps remaining at Richmond.
What about Stuart Friesen down on the bottom, bumps to the inside of Moffitt?
He loves to go down there on the restarts, but he just doesn't have the speed to hold it. But he's on the inside of Zane Smith, heading into 3. Anybody going to give? No, they did give each other room.
Look at Moffitt around the top. He's got those fresher tires on. You're going to see him move through this field quickly.
Around the outside. Yeah.
Wow. Moffitt outside, inside. He's finding his spots, and he is into the 4th position. Didn't waste much time.
And that's Todd Gilliland right there, just trying to make sure everybody's playing it cool and finding that spot to find his rhythm and just stay out of trouble. So that 38 truck's doing the right thing. Here's 26. Ankrum's digging on the bottom. He knows it's go time.
Matt Crafton, another truck that came in and got those precious tires, working his way to the bottom. Traffic right now holding Crafton back. Nothing's holding Moffitt back, though, as you talked about. He's all the way up into the 3rd spot.
Sheldon Creed back there in the 2 truck. We haven't talked much about Creed so far tonight. He's running 11th and a 3-time winner this season. Maybe before the end of the night, he'll get up there and be a factor, but it's been a quiet evening for Sheldon Creed so far.
Yeah, Moffitt's cashing in right now, though. Fresh tires, isn't he?
What's he going to do if the caution comes out in about 10 laps? Pray?
He didn't even count on that right now. Just let him enjoy his fresh tires right now.
You're right.
He's going to have his cake and eat it too right now. Looking for the lead. Brett Moffitt on the inside. That's how you do it. Textbook. Drive underneath him off of turn 4. Takes the lead with ease.
New leader is Brett Moffitt.
Now, Moffitt's a veteran, Kurt. You know what he's going to do? He's going to get about 6-8 truck lengths out there in front and just ride. Try to preserve anything he can on those Goodyear tires so that if a caution does fly soon, he doesn't burn those things up.
Yeah, that's where you go with your crew chief and go, hey, just tell me on the stopwatch if I have a 1 or 1.5 second lead, and try to just maintain that. Just try to preserve all the rubber that you have in your tires and not get too much air pressure buildup.
4th and 5th, you see Ankrum and Austin Hill. Look back from Hill's truck, or from Ankrum's truck at the 88 now of Matt Crafton.
Those two also pitted on our most recent caution, just like Moffitt did, so they're marching forward.
So those with the fresh tires who pitted, they're trying to get all the positions they can get right now and take advantage of that advantage of fresh rubber. Those that did not are just trying to keep the position, the best position they can keep until it's time for them to come get the fresh ones.
Yeah, and what we saw from stage 1, the restart, the guys that were on the front row were able to hold their track position for a long time. That's what you're pulling for right now. You're trying to get to the lead or to get to 2nd. That way you get that front row start when you're on the older tires and when other guys have fresher tires. But we'll have to see where it plays out. I mean, there's still 61 to go, and a big group of the field has a set of tires laying on pit road.
What about this truck, Vince?
Grant Enfinger continues to move forward.
Yeah, he got the free pass, got some tires, and now he's right back in the game. And he's had a fast truck all night long, so expect him to go up there and join, as you see, driving almost off the track to get underneath Todd Gilliland.
He had to go to pit road and get that fender pulled out after getting the tire rub following the contact with his teammate Ben Rhodes, and ended up losing a lap. But then the caution came out, got back on the lead lap, and now Enfinger is up into the top 10. Less than 60 to go in the regular season finale. We're going to set the playoff picture before the night's out. We're going to break, but you won't miss a thing. Going to keep on trucking. Back at Richmond, just over 50 to go for the Gander trucks. 2 playoff spots still available. We're going to fill them tonight, and then the playoffs begin next Thursday at Bristol. Brett Moffitt leads. Matt Crafton runs second, and that 99 truck of Ben Rhodes, last week's winner at Darlington, is third. On board now with Tyler Ankrum, who sits fourth. One of those trying to secure an available playoff position here tonight. And Cody Robaugh running fifth. What a great run it is for the pilot of that 9 truck tonight.
I love riding around on the in-car camera with Ankrum. This track demands so much finesse. You're going to listen down the front straightaway as he drives down into turn 1. Nice and easy off throttle, nice and easy on brake, trying to get down to the bottom. Back to the gas, nice and smooth. I mean, it is so difficult to do it lap after lap, right, Mikey, at this track, because it just sits there and chews up the tires, but you got to be patient.
There's that beautiful number 9 truck for Robaugh. That's awesome, Vince. They took a couple weeks off, had some bad luck, a couple crashes, decided to regroup, and now he's running up inside the top 5, racing alongside the fastest truck on the track right now, Grant Enfinger. This has got to be a real boost of momentum for this 9 team, coming back and showing that they have the ability to run up front.
And what a season opener it was for Robaugh to finish third at Daytona. There haven't been many highlights since, but he is putting one on the board tonight. Good run from Cody Robaugh as we go back to the leader, Brett Moffitt, being hounded by Matt Crafton. That difference now less than a second. Crafton was the fastest on track last lap. Moffitt was second quickest.
Yeah, you got to figure Moffitt just got the lead like we talked about. Maybe just chilled a bit, made sure he was the veteran he is, taking care of his equipment. But Matt Crafton just keeps getting bigger in that rear view mirror, so he's going to have to step on it if he's got anything left.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. Like you said, is Moffitt just cruising, trying to protect the tires? We know Crafton is on the gas, whether it was him or whether it's Junior Joyner, the crew chief, all fired up at the pit crew about losing stops. This is all offense. Crafton is on the gas hard. He's wanting to lead, and he's wanting to pick up extra points to take over them through the playoffs. So he's going to push. It's going to be good to see this little battle play out the next 45 laps or so. And if the yellow comes out, these two boys, they're hung out to dry like grandma hanging the laundry outside.
They are in trouble, Vince. There's no two ways about it, because there's several good trucks that have a fresh set of tires laying in the pits. And you know what they'd love, Kurt, I think, if it ran all the way down to 20 to go. Really get these boys stretched out on their older tires and then come to pit road and get those fresh ones. You're going to look like Richard Petty back in the day at Richmond Fairgrounds.
Junior's
Raceway.
probably got something cooked up, though. He's probably got an old set of scuffs glued up. And, oh, yeah, those will help you. Heck no. Anytime you're on old tires at Richmond, you're sliding around going nowhere. You want the fresh ones. So we'll see how it plays out. But right now, like you said, Enfinger's the fastest truck on the track, and he's reeling these boys in.
Great view from the onboard camera of the 26 of Tyler Ankrum.
Isn't this great, Vince, how you can have the complexion of this race change so quickly? We saw Grant Enfinger running up front, battling for the lead. Contacted his teammate, had to go to pit road, lost a lap, and now he's rebounded and is right back in this thing.
And they're coming up on the 19 of Kraus, who is already a lap down and is below the cut line. Radio from the 19 team.
Gavin, I really think this thing would have been really good because, I mean, the less that they don't hit the splitter, I mean, the thing rips around the bottom. Got good drive off. Not loose in or anything. I don't know, it's frustrating. I know, buddy. I know.
That's just, Kurt, tell the folks at home what it's like when it's bouncing off the nose. He said, I'm on the splitter. That's the nose in front of the truck. How does that react? How does that make your hands feel in that truck?
Richmond and some of the smaller flat tracks like Phoenix, Loudon, you drive down into the corner, and if you get on the brakes with low air pressure usually, the front splitter, the truck will hit and bounce, and the front tires aren't attached to the track. So the truck will just slide up, it won't turn, and you gotta wait for the air pressure to build up. Sounds like these guys missed it big time on their ride height, and it's dragging the heck out of the splitter this late in the run.
And that's one of the real disadvantages of not having practice, right? I mean,
absolutely.
you know, one of those things that, you know, you get corrected in practice, but if you don't have practice, you just roll off the truck and you go racing.
Yeah, and Kraus doesn't have any teammates, so he doesn't have anybody to compare to either. You know, we saw early Johnny Sauter with those issues. That's got to be extra frustrating because there's Matt Crafton, Johnny Sauter's teammate, racing for the win. Sauter's 7 laps down.
Moffitt leads. How are things in the 23 camp, Jamie?
Well, it certainly has been a big disappointment. This 23 team and Brett Moffitt have not gotten the victory lane. I talked to his crew chief, Chad Norris. Last week they had a heck of a run, but they pitted right at the end. They said, we know our speed is good, and where they ran the best this year was Gateway. 2 weeks ago, same tire. They've been working on this truck, and it's paying off, but he's got 88 right on his tail.
Well, and Jamie, those top 4, Moffitt, Crafton, Enfinger, Ankrum, they all pitted back on lap 176. What about those others behind them that still have a set of tires in the pits? If it goes green the entire time from here to the end, what do you do?
I think you stay out and you hope and you pray.
You always told me hope is not a good strategy, Mike.
Well, in this case, it's your best strategy because you've got 4 tires and you want to use them so bad, but you're not going to pit until then.
I mean, you can't pit under green.
No, you can't. You can. It's open, but you won't win.
Can't pit at all, but look at Crafton just driving the heck out of his truck and just trying to get to Moffitt's tailgate. Seeing if he can move him out of the way and get the lead, but it's still 35 to go. There's a long race still ahead of these boys of trying to race the racetrack and race each other.
Junior Joyner. Yeah. He's the crew chief extraordinaire, Vince. We love us some Junior Joyner because what you see is what you get. Everything is right out in front of him, and he's just a race truck guy. wants to get everything he can get out of that vehicle, and if it's a pit crew that is letting him down, or if it's the driver that he doesn't think's giving it all, he's going to let you know about it.
That's right. West Coast boy. I used to race against him in the Southwest Tour, and he'd come up and poke me in the chest. He's like, "You drove my driver dirty." I'm like, "So?" I love those boys. Crafton, Joyner, the whole gang from out west.
Ankrum and Rhodes on the right-hand side of the screen. That is for fourth. We've got first and second on the left-hand side. Now, the one thing about Junior Joyner and Matt Crafton, they have been together so long, three-time champions, and they are excellent friends off track, but they have that relationship where they can be very frank with one another and not worry about hurting the other's feelings, and that's a very valuable relationship to have between crew chief and driver.
Yeah, that's what you heard on the radio. It's that passion and that desire to win and to fix what is wrong immediately, and it's that comprehension to know between the two, yeah, we're all right. We got some cuss words going back and forth, but we're here to win this race, and they're in position to do so right now.
Moffitt being held up by lap traffic, and Crafton trying to decide whether he can take advantage of it, unable to do so at that moment. That's Christian Eckes just ahead of them. Eckes already a lap down.
Tells you how tough this truck series is. Eckes is a guy that's in the playoffs, going to race for a championship, but right now he's struggling to stay one lap down.
You know what we're starting to see is the knowledge of track right now with Crafton on the inside. He's raced here before. He's raced at Richmond. Moffitt, he's a very experienced guy with a bunch of cup laps here, right? You're seeing the experience of knowing how to get around Richmond playing out right now.
For the lead, Matt Crafton closes the door on Brett Moffitt. And if we go green from here to the end, that might have been the pass for the win.
That could be.
Look at Crafton. He's just really good. I talked to Matt earlier today. He said the key, Mike, to success at Richmond is hugging that yellow line low in the corners and then shooting up off the corners dead straight. You don't want to slide those back tires. You do that a couple of times, you're going to be out of luck as far as sticking to the road. So he's playing out just what he told me earlier today would be the key. Running that yellow line and keeping that thing straight up off the corner.
Another quick thing to look for as you're really finding that fine detail is that corner exit and how close they are to the wall. The 88 left a good foot, 2 feet to his right, and 23 of Moffitt was right up against the fence last lap. That lap wasn't as close, but it shows that Moffitt's struggling a little bit with the power down on corner exit.
Look at Ben Rhodes. That's Crafton's teammate. 3 ThorSport trucks in the top 4. How about the 99 run tonight, Alan?
Yeah, how about it? We just saw Ben Rhodes pass Tyler Ankrum, and Ben Rhodes is on tires that are 30 laps older than the 26 truck that he passed. That is a product, guys, of planning ahead. Remember, Ben Rhodes led early in this stage, and even when he was leading, driving away, the team came over the radio and said, whoa, 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 let's slow down just a little bit. Save those tires. We are seeing the benefits of that planning, of that strategy right now. Ben Rhodes in 4th, still needs a little help, though.
Sheldon Creed working his way around Gilliland for 11th. Gilliland still 17 points to the good. He sits on the bubble though currently, so can't afford disaster, that's for sure. Tyler Ankrum 25 points to the good. So right now as we sit, Ankrum and Gilliland have those 2 playoff positions, and Kraus is 16 points below the cut line.
You boys think we're going green to the end? It might happen. It might happen, but man, if the yellow comes out, the whole complexion, you may as well just say Yahtzee, because it's going to be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I think if the yellow comes out, I'm going to go with the pick I said earlier. Ben Rhodes will win this race. He's just fast on his new tires, fast on his old tires, and the best truck I think overall is that 98 of Grant Enfinger. He's going to battle Brett Moffitt for that 2nd position, but he's not going to be able to win this race if the caution flies.
Yeah, really impressed with what the ThorSport trucks have done tonight. Crafton, Enfinger, and Rhodes. Of course, Johnny Sauter had the problems early, but Matt Crafton and Grant Enfinger, Ben Rhodes, they have been very sporty this evening. And how about Crafton? You know, he wins at Kansas earlier this season, snaps a 67 race winless streak, and now maybe on the verge of winning for the 2nd time in the last 7 races.
That's just persistence, and that's just a great team. I mean, that whole organization all through the summer has proven they've got as much pace as anyone, and it's been fun to watch.
If I could put my crew chief hat on real quick, which I'm not as smart as a Chad Knaus, who's been on the booth here helping us and calling some races, I look at ThorSport right now as the team that's done the best homework at their short track program. Richmond chews up tires, you're sliding all around. You need to build trucks with the least amount of weight as possible. Everything's got to be to the left. Everything's got to help all 4 tires be utilized at the same time, and that's what we're seeing out of the ThorSport trucks. So congrats to them. They're putting it on right now.
What they like to say, Vince, is low, light, and left. That's how you want to build any race vehicle in NASCAR, low, light, and left, and they've done a nice job of doing just that.
And it shows up big at short tracks, especially like Richmond.
And right now, ThorSport running 1-2 with Crafton in the lead, and Enfinger just a little less than a second behind.
He's filling them in. I don't know about the lap times here that we're seeing. Enfinger's kind of rolling up on him. We'll see here, though. We got tons of traffic for Crafton.
Yeah, what a mess he's in.
Hot mess.
Gander RV and Outdoors, 20 to go for the 3-time series champion, Matt Crafton.
Give a shout out to Timmy Hill, staying on the lead lap till just now, running inside the top 15 in that 56 truck.
Yeah, Hill finished 10th in stage 2.
Yeah, 9th at Darlington last week too, so nice job. He started this team for he and his brother Tyler to race. You see that black 56 truck just behind the 51 of Chandler Smith there. This is quality, top of the line trucks he's racing with, trying to put the move on Smith here.
Good reps from Timmy Hill. One of the nicest guys in NASCAR right now, other than you, Mikey.
Well, he's an iRacing phenom too. He can get it done in iRacing, and he's proven he can do it in the real world too.
Side by side with Chandler Smith is Timmy Hill, and I really like, you might mention, Mike, the combination of he and his brother running the series, and it's a family owned and operated team, and they do it themselves, and certainly worthy of some corporate support on that truck. No, don't see any of it. It's blank, and they put it blank by design to let you know there's availability.
Yeah, and his brother Tyler is, how do you say, hair frolically challenged. Doesn't have a lot of hair, and they had Hair Club for Men on that truck. I thought that was the greatest sponsor ever for Hill and that team, and they've done a nice job.
Seemed to be an organic connection there. I mean, it just went hand in hand. This is good. This is 16 to go. What I'm really impressed with is all of these truckers haven't been here in over a decade, and they're putting on a good show with hardly any yellows, good side-by-side action when there's old tires and new tires, and now you're just seeing a swarm of older trucks getting lapped, and the leader is not letting up. He's trying to cut through there as quick as he can because he knows his mirror could get filled up quick with Enfinger and how fast his truck is. So I'm digging this. We're getting down to it. We'll see if Crafton can hold on.
Well, the last thing Matt Crafton wants is a caution, whereas guys like Ben Rhodes, David Reagan, Austin Hill, Stuart Friesen, Zane Smith, they all have tires on pit lane that they would come and get, and boy, what a game changer that would be, including the 21 there of Zane Smith, who's about to go a lap down.
He's running inside the top 10, 10th position is Smith, but you're right, Vince, when this race is over, if Kurt, you can attest to this, you drive into pit lane, you go to your pit, you see a set of stickers sitting there, Vince, you're gonna say, what the heck were we doing? Well, we made the call that would win the race right now. I guarantee you, one of those guys at pit, Ben Rhodes, David Reagan, Austin Hill, any of those guys, especially, and look at Stuart Friesen, he's got a set of tires sitting there. He needs to get those on and try to race his way into the playoffs. All that's a possibility if the caution flies.
So those two boys, Crafton and Moffitt, were running 7th and 8th when that caution came out, and they had 30 laps on their tires with 75 to go. That's that zone. If you're going to pit and give up that track position, you may as well, because those top 6, you don't really have a shot at getting through them. You may as well try something different. In the Cup Series, that zone is a little bit further back because there's so many quality cars. But gutsy call, but yet it seems like a simple call right now with Crafton leading the race with almost 10 laps to go. But here's Here's Enfinger. He's there.
He's heating him up, Kurt. That 98 truck all the way from a lap down to getting the free pass back on the lead lap, and now he can sniff the lead. He was leading when he got bumped into and had to come to pit road to pull out his fender. Now he's back there.
Well, you've been talking about and singing his praises all night long, Mike. You've really liked the way that 98 has been rolling tonight, and he is putting the pressure on his teammate Matt Crafton for the lead with 10 to go.
And you know what I love, Vince? We get to, I'm a race fan. I love NASCAR. I love watching racing. And you watch the lap times, and it wasn't 10, 15 laps into the race. You're like, all right, Grant's got him a horse. He's got something special tonight. He's riding, and now he's chopped it down to just truck lengths behind Crafton, our leader.
He's there. I'm looking at the split times, and that doesn't look accurate. I mean, it looks way closer than .94. It's on. This is a race, and every fraction of a second counts with Crafton knifing through these lap trucks and making sure he keeps that distance back to Enfinger.
See Crafton dive low early in the corner. He wanted Friesen to know, I'm coming low, get out of the way. Nice job there, getting by the 9th place truck of Stuart Friesen, putting him a lap down. Crafton very aggressive on that entry to 3.
There you see Rhodes on the right-hand side of the screen, the teammate to Crafton and Enfinger. Last week at Darlington, Ben Rhodes won the race because he stayed out during a late caution when the front runners pitted. Tonight, well, he didn't pit when Crafton and Enfinger pitted, and it might be a difference maker.
Crafton a ton of time off turn 4. He had to check up and go around the outside of that lap truck. It opened up the door.
Enfinger
he's there.
The lead on Crafton, and he's got it.
That one simple little bobble. Oh my.
Norm Benning was the lap truck, and Crafton had to get out just a little bit, and Enfinger was able to make the move.
Wow. I didn't see how that could have really unfolded that way, but Crafton had to check up and go high, kills the momentum, and it's hard to put the power back down right here. And at 98's like, yeah, buddy, I got this, and I'm not going to let this little hole go.
Remember when Crafton told me earlier, I need to run that yellow line, got to stay right on it. He couldn't get there because of the lap truck, and you can see how much it cost him.
Ah, exactly right, Mikey. Man, that was a tough break for Crafton, but that's the Enfinger. He was fast all night, rallied from that fender damage, and now he's putting a lap down on Austin Hill, who won the first stage.
Wow, the regular season champ, Austin Hill, going a lap down as Enfinger, with less than 5 to go, is in front.
Unbelievable change of circumstances. There's 7 trucks on the lead lap just due to that big swap if you're going to put tires on or not.
Still, got to go green to the end, because if we get a caution right now, those guys are sitting ducks.
Yes, they are, but I think we're going to make it. These truckers have done a great job of adapting to this 3/4 mile track here in Richmond, having most of them never seen it before, never been here before.
Enfinger navigating underneath of David Reagan. There's the 20 of Spencer Boyd.
What about Enfinger? Won 2 of the first 4. Went kind of quiet for a while, but the performance lately has been on the upswing, and tonight, man, he is
solid execution, like a surgeon, knowing that he had to come back from that fender damage, use that set of tires, and I think he restarted easily 18th, 19th, 20th. He had a very big gap to close back up on.
Well, heck, he came from a lap down.
18th, wow, awesome run. Coming up on 1 to go.
Yeah, you mentioned those 2 wins, Mike. Enfinger winning 2 of the first 4, but those were his only top 5 finishes. In fact, his only top 10 finishes in the first 7 races. But they did then find a little bit of speed, and things started to pick up as he takes the white flag. 1 to go for Grant Enfinger.
What a solid run. What a comeback. That's how you execute.
His crew chief, Jeff Hensley, won with Mike Skinner the last time the trucks raced at Richmond, and tonight he's the crew chief for Grant Enfinger, and Enfinger is going to win for the 3rd time this season. Back at Richmond, and Enfinger back in victory lane.
You think he's going to thank Rhodes for the fender rub at all when he gives this little talk here when he wins?
I think he's forgiven him now. I think he's officially over it, wouldn't you say, Vince?
Tyler Ankrum crossing the line, securing his playoff spot, and Todd Gilliland will come across, and he will claim the final playoff position.
And, I want to give a shout out to Derek Kraus. I mean, he challenged all the way till the last laps here at Richmond to be a part of the playoffs, and that's what a battle's all about. And Derek came up just short, but great season for that young man.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Derek Kraus, 19 years old. So he's got a lot of racing ahead of him, and it was indeed, I would agree, Mike, an impressive run.
There he
youngster.
is. He put the pressure on Gilliland and Ankrum to make sure. I mean, he was executing one corner down at Darlington to driving to victory lane at that prestigious historic track. Tonight wasn't his night. His truck just didn't handle, but what a great effort that team put
and he'll
together.
learn from that. He'll learn from that mistake, and he can even just kind of pretend that he's in the playoffs, but all in all, just shake it off like a Taylor Swift would and do it again next year.
Whoa, I love the emotion we see. Grant, thrilled to be back in victory lane. It's been a while, like you said, Vince. Won two of the first four. Thought he was going to win them all, I bet, or half of them at least.
His 5th career win, the 35-year-old from Alabama, and boy, he cannot wait to grab a hold of that checkered flag. What a big victory. Last year's regular season champion, but underperformed according to his account in the playoffs. Let's see if he can get it turned around and make it work for him this time. Allen's there.
What a victory for Grant Enfinger, walking back down to his truck. How do you explain a night like this? You had contact with your teammate that could have ruined everything, and then you come back and win this race. How'd you do it?
Man, definitely a special night for us. It's been a rough couple months, but blessed to have some great partners. Blessed to have Champion Power Equipment on board with us here. This one's from my buddy Jason, who's been laid up in the hospital for a month and a half or so now, but he's starting to wake up. And man, this one's for him and everybody that stuck behind this, because man, even though we got the year started out pretty good, it's been a rough couple of months. Thankful to Duke and Rhonda Thorson, everybody at Thorsport Racing that lets us do this. And we catch a little flack every now and then, but we had 3 Thorsport Racing F-150s that could have won the race tonight, and I'm proud of that.
Nothing about this night was easy, especially trying to chase down your teammate, Matt Kraft. And tell me about the pass for the lead. You're both on old tires. How'd you do it?
Pretty much did the same thing Ben did to me. It seemed like you wanted to be on the bottom. You could roll the top a little bit, but we rolled the center really good, and that was our advantage on the long stretch. But can't say thank you enough to Jeff Hensley, man. Like I said, we've both been beating our heads against the wall here lately, but I feel like we're going into the playoffs with some momentum. Proud of our guys, proud of the guys on pit road. This has been a tough stretch. It's been a tough stretch with no sponsors at the track. It's been tough on everybody. So hopefully they know now we've been working our butt off this whole year.
Grant Enfinger wins the first race of the regular season and now the last. Jamie?